terms of spiritual growth, in terms of shadow work, in terms of the left-hand path, sorry, I'm going to move my bong, this shit's going to come out. And I want to talk about real talk real quick. Hold on. So let's get right into it. When you make the decision, hey, my life is super messed up. I am rejecting this idea of this false, unfair, cruel God and the fucking Karens that are following suit and the people that are stuck in their own vortex. All of this stuff, we're pretty much on the same page, you know, and that's fine if we're not. But what happens is when you start to detach from the things you were attached to, including trying to fix other people and including looking in the mirror because of your own anger and your own spectrum of what anger is to you, you're going to be fucking pissed and you're going to have to take it out on yourself. And here's the deal. Other people in your environment aren't going to like you when you start leveling up, whether they love you or not. And they're going to have to follow suit or they're going to have to kick rocks. And I'm serious. And there's a problem in the spiritual community when it comes to spiritual growth where people become very distant, isolated, superiority complex. Oh, I have no time. That's not where this is from, sweetheart. This is from 40 fucking years of being reactively pissed off at other people's bullshit that they can't face in the mirror and being pushed and 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 pushed, and then boom, motherfucker, I am here and I'm throwing fucking elbows and I'm in your face and I'm cussing you out and all this other stuff, right? And I'm freaking out inside. I'm like a 5-year-old little girl inside and it's coming out, and then all of a sudden you start healing that shit, and all of a sudden this teenage you comes out and she's super angry. She is pissed the fuck off and she's taking no nonsense from anybody. That's how shadow work works. However, when it comes to anger, I feel a lot of people use that as an excuse to be toxic. And here's a healthy outlet that I've learned to let that out. Is first of all, stop thinking you're going to help other people. I have shot myself in the foot so many times in my life for exhausting my energy because I have been fighting and screaming for peace in my life since as far as I've been conscious enough to want that. And you will burn yourself out. You have to learn to detach from people. That is healthy boundaries. And if those people don't want to follow suit, then fuck them. I'm serious, because it sucks when you want growth and you try to explain that to people like, hey, I've got to freaking go separate ways because I'm suffering here. I want peace in my life. I am suffering in this up here, whether it's your fault or mine. I need peace and I can't help you with your problems. That's you putting yourself first. That is okay. What's not okay is having this anger and utilizing it as an excuse to just take it out on the people that have hurt you. Because you're going to be blinded by the shit you've done, first of all. If you are in a situation with people that you've leveled with and been equally toxic to, and only you know that spectrum, I'm not justifying abuse or physical violence or anything like that. I've gone through it. I've been violent as well. I have a really bad past of being reactive with people because I had nothing but that in my environment. And I'm going to talk about it. And I'm not mentioning anybody's name. So motherfuckers want to sue me and false DMCA. I got my legal shit straight. You can go right ahead. I'm not going to fuck around anymore. I want peace in my life. And I also have to take a stance for that. Because like I have been kicked off of these platforms by my own self and by other people not wanting me to do it. Oh, you're just wasting your time. What do you want? What the fuck are you so afraid of, motherfuckers? What are you afraid of? Because what it looks like to me is if anybody has a problem with what you're doing, they need to do their own shadow work, and that is none of my goddamn business. And that's what you people need to understand. Those of you who come to me and go, I wish I can content create. I really feel inspired to do this too. Because I've got 40 people on this podcast channel. We just started this. I'm grateful for that. Other people are going to be, oh yeah, look at her doing it again, trying again. Fuck them. I've been trying this shit for 10 fucking years. Not podcasting, but content creating. And I've allowed myself to quit because I start getting successful and I freak out, or other people start getting really pissed off and saying, how fucking dare you? How pathetic of you? Blah, 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 blah. And I held back and I held back and I held back. And when I started doing shadow work and I started to work with infernals, especially, that's a huge part of my path. For me, they don't teach you to go all out and be crazy and be external because I've been nothing but that my entire life. I am not afraid of anybody, and that's a fucking problem. That is not a flex. That is a serious problem. when you have that shit clicked out of you at an early age and you're numb to it and you're numb to being intimidated by people unless you're emotionally like in love with them or if you want that safety from them, especially, you know, if you're a woman, that's what we crave in nature sometimes, whether you want to admit it or not. It is. I'm a really fucking tough bitch, but I still want to be taken care of in certain ways. I'm not talking about financially. It's not, I don't give a fuck about that. Just like the hunter-gatherer sort of mindset is where I am. But here's the thing. I have to breathe. I have generational shit that I have to fix, right? So when my anger comes out, I can't be taking it out on my partner or my neighbor or anything like that. I don't take it out on my kids. I'll lecture sometimes. You guys are doing dumb shit. We got to get it together, blah, 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 blah. Even that's not cool, and you think you're doing better. I've always practiced gentle parenting, but I've definitely struggled with lecturing too much. When kids hit like 13, it starts getting crazy. But you also realize as a parent who's struggling with being in survival mode and healing fucking decades worth of trauma that you just stuffed down and soldiered on about, your spiritual path is going to bring a lot of that out. But you need to learn how to hone that and fine-tune your anger and use it to your advantage for growth. Be angry at the situation and disconnect from it. Like, don't distance yourself, but be external and evaluate an argument. Instead of taking it like, it's so hard, we'll take everything to heart. Somebody says, fuck you fucking bitch. You're like, how dare they? Ugh, I'm gutted. I have been so verbally brutal with people. I'm not proud of that. I am not proud of that because I am the type of person, I am the fucking coolest person you will ever meet. I will feed you. I will clothe you. I will bathe you. I'll walk you. I will do whatever I need to do. I'll nurse you back to health. Bitch, I about fucking do everything but breastfeed your ass if I care about you. But if you start taking advantage and you're like really, really getting a bit brave, I am not the same person. So what happens is in my past, I would flip. I'd be like fucking Harvey Dent. I would be like, fuck you then. Fuck you. You want to fuck me over? You want to steal from me? And it would be like, I would make it very clear and be vocal and loud and angry about how pissed I was that somebody betrayed me or somebody did this, even though I haven't been the best friend in the fucking history. I've been a really good friend, but I've fucked things up before. I've fucked things up in my own relationships. So that's what this path teaches you. It teaches you just don't worry about everybody else. Heal from that trauma. Heal and understand that certain things were not your fault, but you can't sit there sucking on your thumb about it forever. Like, we can't. You have to give yourself space. So here's my solution for when I'm angry. I beat myself up every day, whether it's with my spiritual practice or just my own physical goals or a hobby that I want. You don't have to be, you fucking exercise, look at you, you're still fat. I'm on my journey. I don't care about that. I have been through so much fire, even in the past year, like alone. Like, it's fucking crazy. I don't share everything on social media. But I know that when it comes to my anger, I am becoming so disciplined with that. Because when it arises, I know that it's either necessary or not to utilize that. And it's really about, like with King Belial taught me, is really disciplining that dragon with not taming it, not bitching it out. Because a lot of people do that. You see that with gentlemen in particular. And I'm very sorry if I sound sexist or... because everybody's fucking woke and shit. I don't even know what's going on these days because I really don't care. Because, you know what? If a bunch of rich people are saying that pronouns is a big deal, they're hiding other shit, okay? The military-industrial complex takes $5 fucking trillion of American taxpayers. 1.8 trillion of that money is missing annually because it's going into some motherfucker's pockets. Meanwhile, we're over here squabbling over a beer and over, you know, some trans woman on a beer can and who's doing this and that and blah, 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 blah. Like, there are so many bigger problems. There are cities that are falling apart in my home country, man. I'm cool here in Australia, but shit's not cool here either. You know what the big problem in Australia is? Everybody wants to know if they can go to the pub on Afterpay. That's the #1 Googled thing for Afterpay. Can you take Afterpay to the pub? So I'm fucking already angry about everything else, right? And I can't be. I gotta leave that shit behind. I'm not one of those people. Thank fuck. Because look at this shit's fucking gonna hit the fan hard and no one's listening. And I'm gonna just not be on my soapbox and my tinfoil hat going, heary, motherfuckers, the fucking ends isn't here. Go ahead and live your life. I'm gonna bounce out. I'm gonna fucking get a bug out bag and get the shit that I need and fucking chill. And that's it. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice in any of this. I have to make the best of what I have instead of sitting there feeling angry because I can't give the life to my kids that I thought that blah, 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 because I tried so hard. We, like millennials, older millennials, we're going through that shit right now. We really are. So all of these elements right now, you know I go full circle, but I'm learning about controlled anger at times and how to channel that more effectively. Because what I used to do in the past is try really hard to be like a white picket fence. Not like that white picket fence. I've always been eccentric and weird and crazy. But I always like, man, I just want to be like the fucking mom that you should be, that brings all the snacks at the school parties and fucking always shows up for their kids and is at every school play and is always encouraging them and helping them with their homework and not, all these other things. And I did that and I was still angry. I was still angry because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was doing it out of ego. And even though I had nothing but love for my kids, I am more than just a mom. You know what I mean? You get siphoned into that too as a parent. We get siphoned. I see a lot of women get siphoned into that where they're just like nothing but mom and that's their personality trait. You need more than that, baby. That shit's going to fucking burn. That bridge is going to burn. You're going to burn on it. It doesn't matter how nice you are, how nice you look, how nice your house is, how super this, or blah, 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 blah. You will burn yourself so hard. So what you have to do with this practice is ask for help. That's when I ask for help. You know when I ask for help? When I am really struggling and I don't want to make bad decisions. I ask my patron and my matron. Hecate is really great for healing that. For healing just fucking anything, to be honest. Like, she really is fuck around and find out. But she's also like, look, this is a situation. We can handle it in this way. But this is also what you need to do for yourself. And you need to keep your protections up. And you need to stop, answering to emails or reading this or comments don't bother me. And to be honest, I get mostly just amazing, kind comments or informative comments. Like I don't even care. I'm really lucky. Like my communities are super duper awesome. Like I'm not trying to lie. I just don't have the same drama all the time. Sometimes it's just little stupid stuff from TikTok and I'll make a joke about it. 'Cause it's just like, it's not about me getting offended. It's about how fucking stupid the system is. And we're all angry and falling apart. So that makes it more angry. So the point is ask for help. I'll do a reading. I'll light an incense. I'll light, her candle or somebody's candle. And I'll just say, I need help. I need help right now, please. Because I'm really not wanting to start getting into bad mental habits or engaging into an argument. My partner and I we're transparent. We can talk about stuff. If anything, he didn't care, I would delete. That's, he doesn't care. He's very open. And I'm going to probably say that a lot because I just want to make it clear I care about people's, their privacy in terms of their spiritual. If you fucked me over and you were really like horrifically abusive to me, I don't give a fuck about you. You can go kick rocks. I'll see you in court. See ya. Anyways, people that I give a fuck that make efforts in their life and they're putting in the work, they have struggles. My husband and I we really met each other very broken, isolated, no support, and we kind of blew up in each other's faces over it. There's no nothing to be concerned about. It's just two broken people that will get stuck in CPTSD. So now that we are self-aware, and for me, I don't have the same, like for fight or flight, I feel like it would just, to click over these days, it would have to be something very serious. And I have a really calm environment. Like my kids are cool. My husband's really cool for the most part. Like we do argue at times, like we're human, but anytime that some toxicities might arise, we have to work hard because we have too much to lose. We don't want to hurt anybody. And the thing is you don't have to help each other out, but you have to make that choice if you do with your partner. Because I've been in this situation where I've tried to fix everybody. And while you're doing that, you think that you're fixed because you're like, hey, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to take accountability. If you do that too, we can do this. I've done that kind of shit in the past, just in general. And some people aren't ready for that, or some people don't need that. And you have to learn that I've had to learn a lot of hard lessons working with infernals that I'm not in charge. And it's not about wanting to be in charge. It's about being fucking forced into that shit. I didn't have a fucking stable upbringing. A lot of us didn't. And that's okay. I'm cool. I made it, man. I'm fucking here. I did better. I did better than I had. And I don't have this pride for that. I feel like anything that I didn't fix, we got to talk about. And I've just come from a line of tragedy. I really do. And a lot of it's self-inflicted. A lot of it's systematic. And a lot of it's because of needing help And that's it. And like I said, I am not in a place where people can silence me about stuff anymore. So I'm a grown-ass woman, and I've never allowed myself, I've allowed myself to be the scapegoat, but I've never allowed myself to be that role. That's just the role people have wanted for me, if that makes sense. Like, as soon as somebody dies, it's your fault. Like, what the fuck did I do? As soon as something goes wrong, it's your fault. It's your fault, because everybody expects you, the youngest out of, I'm an only child, but like, it just in general, like in my upbringing, to fix every time somebody's mama dies, I gotta deal with it. I'm serious, and I'm not that person anymore. I got so pushed, and it had high expectations, and there was a lot of output, and there was no input. There was no thank you. There was no, I'm here for you when you're falling. I'm here for you when you're fucking up. So I had to learn really, really hard and true and cold that I got through everything on my own. And when you heal, you start to feel sorry for yourself about that. I have, and I'm going to talk about it. I felt pissed. I've gone through high school graduation without any family support. I got through culinary fucking graduation without any support. I got through 4 pregnancies, 4 births, nobody fucking visiting. Not a single goddamn phone call, not a fucking birthday, all this stuff. I got through 40 birthdays between these fucking kids without everybody else that should have been there. So what I realized is, that is my situation, and I really need to accept that. And I need to deal with that anger in a healthy, productive way, because right now, the world falling apart, and this is the place I'm going to talk about it. So if you don't like it and you want your happy cupcake life, go to another channel, because this ain't it, because I get sick of that shit. Everybody's like, just focus on the witchcraft. Bitch, I am focusing on fucking so much witchcraft that I'm fucking discovering how fucked the system is. So yes, that is the point. Look, you need to go get your money. You need to go get your health. You need to go get the shit that you came to this goddamn earth for, because you're entitled to that. You're not entitled to hurt other people. You're not entitled to overpower other people or take up their space. None of us are. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck what you've contributed to the world. I will always see eye to eye with other human beings. I will respect people for what they are, not what they do. I don't get, like, if I was in a room with, like, Elon Musk, I would judge him based on his fucking personality and how he treated people, not because he's going to Mars or whatever. That's cool for him. I don't get it, but, I see the amazement in humans, like the capacity we have in human beings, and we're really supposed to be sharing knowledge and sharing all these ideas and supporting each other and finding our passions. There's no fucking purpose to any of this, really. Like, some of us feel like we have a mission, but some of that's systematic, too. And my thing is, I just always feel like I need to say shit to people. Like, a lot of this wisdom that comes out, I don't even know where I learned it from. Because I've been doing this shit. I have had no manual, nothing, forever. I've been like just trying to figure this shit out. And after a while, you break down, because you need something. We do, as human beings. We need others. We need deity. We need spirit. I'm not saying that you need deity if you are atheistic about your practice. I'm saying we need something. And when you have nobody, or you have people in your environment that are there for you, but they have struggles too, because I can't be there for my husband all the time when he's breaking down. I have to tell him, I love you, but I need space, because I don't have the capacity for this right now, because I've had a 16-hour day, and if he's just being irrational. If there's something that I need to take account for, I got to take account, and that I got to give space immediately, because my partner matters. But if my partner's struggling, or if I'm struggling, you're not gonna. I don't want to leave people to like be dusted. Like, fuck you, deal with your own shit. You got to do it with peace and love and kindness. If those people in your environment, in your life, in your vortex are making those efforts, and not based on what you expect, but based on their capacity. And you will understand that when you start to heal. You will understand that your fucking range of healing and your capacity and your pain tolerance is really dependent on the grit and the life that you've had. And you're not better or stronger for it, because that can cause a lot of anger too. I've been very resentful. I've buried 2 grandparents when nobody else wanted to, or nobody else could. I've had to bury people. I've had to be there when my friends die. I've had to see so much death in my life, like from an early age, and I've had to deal with a lot of shit. I've had to deal with other people's problems, because everybody's like, Amber's smart, she's got it figured out. Listen, don't get to the point like I did, where you're like, yeah, I'm going to fix everybody, I'm going to do this, you getting good grades, and you're caring about everybody else's kids, all this other shit. Just take all your power back. And if they start getting pissed off because you're not there, then you already know what the relationship is. And you're going to cry about it. You're going to feel hurt. You're going to feel betrayed. You're going to feel angry. You're going to feel sorry for yourself. And you're blah, 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 blah. Then you're going to be toxic because all these people. Fucking stop. We are at a pivotal point right now in evolvement. And a lot of people are spiritually waking up. I'm even doing that with people that I know, like outside of my home. They were asking me for help, and I'm like, look, I'm not the guru. I can do a reading, we can do something, we can see, and I'll let you know what you need to hear, but take it as you wish. Like, that's it. But I noticed that people are hungry to wake up. They're realizing this is not it. But why am I so fucking angry? It's like you're angry about this stupid mundane shit because it's been programmed for you to be. We're cast under this haze, under this spell. Look at people. When I say the Matrix, hold up. All apologies. I don't mean this, I'm trying to think of the word. This whimsical idea of going into the system and fucking being Neo and whoa, shit, dodging bullets. No, motherfucker. First of all, you come for where I have to, you're gonna have to dodge bullets. You're from fucking California. So we already know that I can fucking be like Nero. I can fucking do this shit. I had to do that shit walking to school. So I don't even talk about that shit. What I'm talking about is this cage people going. I'm being stupid, but I'm not at the same time. This cage people get in, right? Like everybody who fights online, like the gender war right now, like we need women to be submissive and we need women to do this. Meanwhile, we can watch, sorry, gentlemen, I'm going to just call you out for a minute. And we got our own shit, okay? And I ain't going to justify it because everybody's got to be, what about me and my fucking group? It's like, fuck you and your demographic for a minute. We're not talking about it, okay? We all have problems. Okay, seriously, but men have this idea right now in society because of this stupid alpha male bullshit. It's so fucking dumb. Anybody who's in that role doesn't need to say they are, doesn't need to work to achieve it. It's just another way to keep men feeling like they're not good enough. So now they have this complex, I'm gonna smoke cigars, I'm a fucking alpha male, and you gotta submit. Bitch, please. You know what real submission is from a woman? It's when I allow your ass to take charge. That's what that really means. And that's how my environment works because I'm very headstrong and I don't want to be in charge. My husband's in charge, but he doesn't fucking sit around and act like he's got the final say because as soon as that shit gets abused, I'm going to fucking sideswipe that shit and take over. I'm like, my turn. Sorry. It doesn't matter. Those are privileges. And as a result, he also gives me that respect to understand that I have that say in a way. Like, it's not a power dynamic. It's just mutual respect, and it's an ebb and flow of energy in the environment. And it doesn't matter if you're in a female-female relationship or you're in a poly situation. I've considered being polyamorous. I've thought about it because I just need fucking family. But no, seriously, like, I understand that there are a lot of complex certain, oh my God, I can't talk today. Family dynamics I'm not trying to just keep it to the white picket fence nuclear one. That's just like, well, mine's not like white picket fence, but mine's not even nuclear because we're a blended family. But you know what I mean. I'm not trying to generalize and say it needs to be like the mom and the dad and the little kids and everybody's happy. It's like it doesn't matter if you got two husbands or not and everybody's cool or whatever. We shouldn't care about that sort of stuff anyways because it's another... In both of those ways, that freedom can be oppressive too. When you're like, I'm doing shit that's this, just to fucking say fuck you to the system. It's like, you got to meet the right people for that. So anyways, this is the lessons that I've been learning lately with anger. Because as I've been on this journey of healing, for this past year, I've been really disconnecting from anger for the most part. I suffer hormonally with PMDD I've talked about. And in those situations, I'm aware of those symptoms. I also have physical symptoms like a lot of women do. You get tenderness here and you get a little bloated. So those are things that if I feel like I am, and hormones aren't an excuse. This is a really debilitating thing that I take herbal supplements, I exercise, I get the fuck away from everybody if I need to. I'm in premenopause as well. So please don't think that I think that's an excuse because people abuse that, like it's not cool. But for those situations, I just communicate, hey, I'm really feeling unwell with this. And if you're okay, if it's not stressful. And my husband's like, no, he's like, he'll make me tea, make me snackies, tell me to eat something yummy, watch some cartoons or some shows and tell me stop working because I'm studying a lot. So there's that love, right? And then as a result, I feel like, okay, I can get through this. We need support. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes your partner can't do that. Not because they don't want to, but because they've had a bad day. There's sometimes, my husband's not just, he's so romantic actually, but he's also like, you gotta go deal with your stuff sometimes. You know, he's not just apologetic because I am feeling like being a bitch. Like, I have to be very, very proactive with that for that situation. Outside of hormonal issues, which is a totally separate thing, but I mean, it's absolutely caused conflict for sure. But when I am frustrated, whether I am feeling irrational or I'm struggling with an insecurity or it's my partner's being irrational, you listen, here's the thing I've learned. You can start being a psychobabble fucking person all you want and be like, well, I watched Jordan Peterson and he said this and I Googled this and this fucking woman said this and this and my therapist said that. It doesn't matter. Because an unhealed person's going to say, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that that's the situation. I'm saying in general, when you start trying to teach people how to get their shit together because you're trying and you're depending on them to, whether they're friends or somebody, you have to not do it. You're going to cause yourself so much more grief and so much more anger, and you're going to be so frustrated, and you're going to feel entitled because you're working so hard on yourself and your environment's not. So you have to distance yourself. And you know, if you're in a household, and this is in a household where there are toxic tendencies and cycles being broken, where two people are self-aware and they really want to try to give each other space, and it's a non-consistent thing. I understand what it's like to be in an environment where you got the cops called on you, you feel embarrassed, you can't leave the house for a week because they're going to fucking know this, blah, 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 or you're acting irrational. I've got into it with neighbors before that were like super hood. Like, I have stories, man. And I'm not proud of that, but the thing is you feel so angry at yourself when you become an angry person because you're pushed to that. All of us really are pushed to that. All of us on this, I shouldn't say all of us on this path. A lot of people I've crossed paths with, that's a better way to say this, on the left-hand path, really have been fucking pushed to be fuck around or find out. Like, everybody that I've seen that's been healthy on this path as well, because this isn't kumbaya, everybody, we just ask Satan and he'll help us. The devil will help you, but you got to help yourself. And people sometimes don't get that, and that's none of my business, but my point is, the people who have gone down this path and have walked in darkness, and people that teach me wisdom, you know, in these communities, they always, when you hear their story, it's always fucked up. And how many parallels is that with the entities that a lot of us work with? But you can't also hold on to that self-loathing, because that essence is there when you are pushed to freedom and you're pushed to becoming dark and you're in your fucking villain era. I've just always been the villain, so now I've accepted, and I sound generic because I've heard other people say this, but I have accepted that role. I don't care, because I have kids that I need to take care of, and I got my shit to take. I got a legacy to leave for them. I don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks about any of this shit. You can clown on me. You can say, look at her, she's got 2 views. I don't give a fuck. I've heard it all. I've heard it. I've heard it from a lot of people. Believe it or not, I'm not even successful as a content creator. I have a really supportive thing, especially like TikTok. When you do your stuff, you pick up momentum, and people are really generous. And right now, it's really hard for people to do that, you know? So that's successful enough for me. Of course, I want to grow shit, but it's not about I just want to show my potential. And I don't want to apologize because I've just deluded myself. I've allowed that. I have allowed that. That's what this has taught me, and that's why I'm angry now. Is because you realize that. That's the epiphany of anger, is when you realize, yes, it was justified for you to be a bitch at times. Yes, it was understandable why you were so angry as a teenager and so broken as this and blah, 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 blah. But right now you are mad at yourself because you allowed it. You just thought, some of us are loud and we talk, right? My kids tell me, oh man, mom's going to give her TED Talks because I start talking about, you know, this sort of stuff. And they listen. But with other people, you know, outside your surroundings, you attract that in a way. And please, I saw something that was kind of disturbing on TikTok this morning. Hold up, please. And I don't even know the creator, if they were like well known or anything, but somebody was saying that when you are going through healing and you have people in your environment that are toxic, that you attracted that energy yesterday. I do not apply to that stupid shit. That is taking on so much responsibility for other people's actions. Sometimes and it's narcissistic too, in a way. Like, I'm not saying narcissistic, but like, it's very like, it is a narcissistic tendency, I think, like, to think that the whole fucking world revolves around you. Like, oh, the planet's aligned for me. No, it's not. That's not how that works. We are a lot, but we're also not. Like, I'm just another blurry face in this stupid, sick system that I hate. I love life. I love what I define life to be. I don't want to be a part of this shit anymore. I've also allowed that. And demons will teach you that. And they will sometimes do it in a way that's very, very, very confronting. And not scary. You know what, it is scary because it's so basic and in plain sight. Like, it's just you. It's how we need to just be able to keep our environment clear. It really is. What I've learned is, like, I've had this vision of Belial, I told you, on his throne, and I'm walking up to him, and he's like high up on this pedestal, and it's not like an arrogance. He's not, I'm trying to show you my power. It's like, it was out of love, but it was also, when I was there, I was like, fuck, I put my head up a little out of love, but keep your head just solid. He doesn't want you to have your head down, but you know, I do know my place. Some people don't. Some people think they're Lucifer's chosen wife or some shit. I know that that's not the case. I know my capacity, and that's including for people who are in a God spousal as well. That's a very sacred thing, but that's a aspect of that energy, not the entirety. I hope people understand that. But anyways, when I was walking through this aisle, his legions, they were all on fire and just strong, but his point was he had to build that. He didn't just take and say, fuck you guys. He had to earn that. His brigade, he's a leader. They follow him not because I got to. It's because, why wouldn't you want to? That he's taught so much leadership without teaching the lesson of leadership because he's so, like, nonchalant about it. And that's like in a way how I believe we should be about stuff. Because we're so entrapped into these prisons. I talk about the Matrix. There's so many, like, mental cages. Like, but when we get in our own with healing, we have to be able to evaluate that and channel that. Now, in terms of my craft, in terms of feeling angry, so I'm just checking up on the time. In terms of feeling angry, when I ask for help, I always get some sort of solution that can help me with my craft and my practice. How to channel that. How to bottle that energy if you need to, because you can. I collect energy. You can scream in a jar if you really want to, and you can use that, or you can scream at something. You know what I mean? And close that box. You can do that. Sorry, there's another plane. There's been a lot of planes lately. And honestly, I just want to say on a side note, I have no, information or intelligence on this whole, everybody talks about planes and, what are they called? The chemtrails. Sorry. I'm so sorry that I blink out at times. I want to keep the flow going. But the chemtrails, I don't know anything about that, and I don't know if that's the case, but all I know is I've been hearing different types of planes, like, all the time in the past 6 months, and some of them sound like freaking World War II, outdated planes, and I like to sound hunt. If you are a sound hunter, if you're a musician, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I like to sound hunt, and then when you have, like, relative pitch, some people do in music perfect pitch, you can be able to determine the chords, what key they're in and shit. So that's what I really rather spend my time on, not this stupid bullshit. But with having anger, you can't beat yourself up at the same time like you would other people, even if it's in your own head, which hopefully that's the limit to that, if that's the case. You have to not beat yourself up and treat yourself the same. But you also have to not give yourself such an alibi that you're not willing to give other people, given the level of that, a level of hurt, or the level of abuse, a level of toxicity. But then at the same time, we have to have a clear understanding of what that spectrum is, because we play God a lot when we're angry. We play God with that's acceptable for me to do, but you did something worse, so we're going to focus on that. And I became very invalidating when I was much younger, because I was so stuck on what other people did that were really big to me because I felt very, very small. That when I did things that I felt were really small, that might have been very big to somebody, but it's not as, impactful as what I went through. Like, you did this, it's both wrong. But at the same time, I don't believe in just apologizing for something minuscule when somebody does something major. So there are, like I said, a lot of complexities, and I think it's healthy to talk about them because we don't have a choice but to get our shit together or to not. And where I am, because I have children, I can't not. I am doing this for myself first. All of this fucking healing that I've been doing for the past few years, all of this accountability, all of this self-awareness, I take a break from it at times. I don't take a break from practicing it. I take a break from thinking about it and talking about it because it's a lot, right? And I get sick of hearing myself speak sometimes. But at the same time, when you're starting to actually read the story of your life and not just skim through the pages and highlight the good parts and highlight the drama and the cheese man, all this bullshit, and you start to really study you, I'm telling you, you will want to revisit that book every month and you'll learn something new about yourself and you'll realize, man, all right, let's do this. I got the tools. I learned what not to do. I picked up some cool tips along the way. It doesn't matter how I got those cool tips. What matters is I have those in my toolbox and I can do better. And you can do better. I see a lot of pain and I feel a lot of pain from my audience. And this is going to sound, I don't want to say like intrusive. I get private messages most days, at least one or two on Instagram. I've got like 200 people on there, at least one or two. I think closer to 300 now we're on there. But I can feel such a dark, deep pain in some people, and I'm not trying to read their energy. It's just, I don't know if people are letting me or what, or maybe it's in my head and blah, blah. I can feel just fucking pain from people in my little community. My community. I don't like saying it like that. I don't know what to call it. It makes you understand this path a little bit better as well, in a weird, small way. I'm not trying to like overemphasize that, like, oh, I just fucking care so much. Like, I don't have the capacity to give a shit about everybody's problems outside of basic empathy and understanding. I care like that, but I don't have the energy to invest and to write paragraphs and to pour my heart out and to give advice because I used to. And anytime you would, people just leave you on read anyway. So I would get confused why people, I'm not trying to complain, I get confused why people find it easy to talk to me. And I feel like, I want people to feel safe to share whatever they feel safe. I'm cool with that. I like reading, and it helps me sometimes. I feel really lonely. I feel really lonely sometimes. And I know it sounds really sad, but sometimes when I'm just laying in bed and I'm feeling really like just hurt from life and beat up, and I'm giving it 100,000%, I'll read messages. I won't respond, but I'll read them, and they make me feel less lonely. And I know it sounds weird. I've been struggling on a small scale with content with like imposter syndrome, because I get a lot of really positive messages, and I feel the need to tell people how toxic I've been, because people really, 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 really gravitate toward me, and I feel uncomfortable with it because I don't want to misguide anybody. And I don't feel like I'm like supposed to be that for people. You know, I get that a lot where people's like, oh my gosh, and they're like, boom, and then just like dive all in, and I get really overwhelmed because I don't know how to respond to that quite yet. I don't like when people get so guru-y, you know, and they're like, I just feel like I have a lot of anger that has contributed to the toxicities in my own vortex that are like unraveling, like unlayering like an onion peel. You're just peeling off those things that are irrational that make you feel angry, things that are absolutely rational that make you feel angry, but also understanding that anger is an energy, and we don't need to be in any type of energy for too long. You know, like you shouldn't feel guilty or bad when you're angry. You should deal with it in a healthy way, just like when you're happy. How many motherfuckers do you know that are unhealthy about their happiness? They drink too much. They're doing blow on the weekends. They're fucking spending money they ain't got on stupid shit. You know, they're indulging in their vices. They're not working on their problems or their marriage. They're just siphoned into pornography. And look, I'm not tripping on a lot of those things, but we have to take things as they are. There's a fucking spectrum of darkness for anything and addiction for anything. And we are searching for happiness. And we think that's going to make us happy because we feel euphoric for a bit. Anybody who's ever done cocaine, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've never had a struggle with drugs, but I've absolutely been fucking crazy when I was younger. And I had my Drew Barrymore phase when I was younger, right? And I've done cocaine a couple of times. My family knows about it. My kids know about it. They're grown now. It's not like I'm like bragging about it. I have to have these conversations because a lot of conversations I had kept me out of more trouble than I didn't get into and I could have, because I've been offered everything. I've been offered to do everything, and I said no to most shit. So I still didn't, though. I still fell into peer pressure, and a lot of that peer pressure comes from your own fucking household, from the people that raised you, and that's the truth. So I made my own choices. But the problem is when you do coke, like, fucking clean the house and get into a goddamn fight, you're ready to fucking keep going or whatever. And you see people who struggle with that, like, you know, like really, really struggle. You have friends that you can't be around that shit. And please don't do cocaine because you increase your risk for heart attacks significantly. And when I mean by 50%, it doesn't mean 50% as is. It means 50% of the capacity that it is at that point. Every time you do fucking blow, you increase that by 50%. In that small spectrum. I'm not a mathematician. I barely know how to fucking add my own birthday numbers up, so take it as you want. But the point is we chase happiness, and we have to be so happy that it kills us and it destroys us. But at the same time, we do that with anger. And when we're angry and we're healthy about it, we still beat ourselves up. Like now these days, what I do with my anger, I gotta wrap this up soon, is I work out. And that's not easy for me because I don't want to fucking do that when I'm in pain and I got kids and all this stuff. I got to wake up early. I go to bed late. I have to. It's not about anything else. And it is. I do that. And guess what happens when I beat myself up and I challenge myself? I don't torture myself. I just push myself. And I work with infernals for that sort of shit too. And it's not always when I'm working out or anything, but Azazel helps when you are really trying to quit and you can give more than you're giving. He's going to whisper in your ear a little bit. And it's not all the time. They know when you are giving it and you got nothing and you're gassing out. They know that. You don't know that. Because we quit. Because we're tired. We're fucking tired, right? We're just like, fuck this. We're done. But that's not the case. You know, the case is when you feel like you're quitting, you're like, man, I am tired. Just take a few seconds, man. And if for me, for this analogy, for working out, if it's one more rep, if it's one more push-up, do motherfucking 2, fuck it. And you can. And that's the point. And it's not about this like ego thing. It's about your capacity of breaking yourself down so you can relax and rebuild. And that's what we do physically. And it helps. It mimics mentally. I feel good mentally because of it. That doesn't mean that I'm never going to be completely healed. I'm never going to be, please do not. Anybody who, like younger people who come to my platforms, don't fall into this idea that you're going to just have this oasis for the rest of your life. It's not. Life sucks. Life is hard. People are going to die in your environment. You're going to lose jobs. There's opportunities you're going to want. You're not going to get. Shit's going to happen. And you know what you need to learn? You need to learn how to pivot and go, okay, and take it for a yes or a no. You really have to make that decision for yourself. And there are some things that are going to be a no if we have an ego about it. Like some people are so obsessed with wanting to be a pop star because they want to be famous, not because they have a passion for the art of singing and getting their art out and getting their fucking words and their feelings out and transcribing that for other people to connect. They're not doing that. They want to be Britney Spears. But look at Britney Spears. It's not what we think it is, you know? And then those of us who aren't on the Britney Spears spectrum of finance, you know, or on the fiscal spectrum, we get angry, like, oh, boo-hoo-hoo in your mansion. It's like, you don't know people. People, like, addiction does not give a fuck how much money you have. Like, violence doesn't care how much money you have. Disease doesn't care. Like seriously. And a lot of these people, I'm not talking about her as an individual in particular, by the way, but a lot of celebrities are super dumb. And they're stupefied because they have a role. And a lot of them are related to these people in charge. And I sound like a kook, but it's true, man. I have looked into this, and I'm not looking at FacebookBoomer.com either. I'm like actually fucking deep diving when I'm stoned and have time. But it's like, you realize that all of this is so set up and staged, that Hollywood is so fucking absolutely fake, but the people in Hollywood are so weak, and they are so immature, and they're so dumb. Because all they have is their world. They're not in our world. We're not in... I don't know what it's like to be an untouchable. You know what I mean? We can watch documentaries on Vice on what those people have to go through in India, all because of, religious oppression too, and children having to fetch water and all this stuff, right? I don't know what it's like to have to deal with that. And I still cry about my first world problems, right? Because some of mine are valid. Some of them are just me being like a wimpy person and I get it together. Other things are like, man, it's the same in certain situations. We got to stop doing this shit. We got to focus on ourselves. You know what? I feel like I flip-flop because I go, we all got to fucking come together, but not kumbaya. It's like, you know what? No, we need to just focus on our shit and exist. And that's it. I have been not struggling with my anger, but I've been confronted with what makes me angry sometimes. And it's not like a point A, point B, like if you have people in your environment, your sister or your best friend, you're having beef, and it's like this point A, point B, like back and forth exchange, right? Well, fuck this, blah, 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 and you get somebody else involved, and you start talking gossip, you're like, this bitch is doing this. I don't have any of that in my life. My God, like how freaking exhausting. I've been there. I thrived off that stuff with certain people in my environment too, because I was like, there's injustice. I'm going to fucking save everybody. Like, fuck, and sit down and shut up. That's what I needed to be told, is to sit down and shut up and worry about yourself. And I needed to tell people that, to be honest, because I got involved because people would call me and get me involved. And I should, and after a while I did, even in my 20s, I'm like, sorry to hear that. I got to go. Bye. I stopped caring. Like, this wasn't just me waking up at like 34 and going, oh, fuck, guys, the past few years I've been doing it. I have been really trying to grow since my early 20s. And I did in certain aspects, but I had only so many tools to build a car. You're given a freaking screwdriver and a hammer, and you're like, here, build this car. Fix it. And you're like, I don't know what the fuck this is even. Is it a screwdriver, or is it a monkey wrench? What is this? You don't even know what tools you're holding. You don't even know how to hold the tools. You don't even know what to do. You're just fucking, I just fix it. That's been me my whole life. It's just fucking blindly trying to fix a car with no manual, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And it's everything's in fucking Chinese, and I have a hammer. And that's me in my 20s. And me in my 30s, I'm like, okay, you know what? The hammer didn't work, and I was bitching about it so much, but all I did was fucking bang shit around and break it more. So now, what do? We can get a whole new car. You probably need to, because you fucked this one up too much. But now, we're going to learn how to fix it. We're going to learn how to maintain it. We're going to learn what tools we need slowly, because you don't need to do it all overnight. And with healing, I'm just going to leave with this. I know I always say I leave and I go 10 minutes later and I edit and I see that and I hate it. But you do not need to heal overnight. You're not required to. But with that, make sure that you're okay with other people not doing the same. If you have this relationship with people that are in communication and they're trying to get their shit together, and you make that decision for yourself to be ride or die. And I'm not trying to say just my husband, it's not even about that. It's about we have those experiences and we've gone through so much and we're overcoming so much and it's so much better now. But at the same time, when you're going through growth, nobody wants to talk about it as it's happening. Everybody wants to talk about it when it happened 5 years ago. And that's fine. I think that's okay and healthy. Not everybody needs to be like my dramatic ass. But when I have these situations arise in my environment, instead of me feeling sorry for myself, I use them these days as a learning tool because I've had so much healing, and it's not numbness, because that's not okay if people, I've been numb. I've been pushed to just not caring when people are abusive toward me. I've been there, and it's super sad because you not only affect yourself, but you see other people affected in your environment, like your kids or something. I've had to go through that, and I've had to take account for that and fix that. We are all fucked up. Some of us more so than others, but nobody wants to talk about it. I'm not proud of anything that I've done, like in terms of being toxic to other individuals, whether they deserved it or not. only because of my own composure. For certain people, I will curse people. You steal from me, you hurt my family, you do something that's really bad. I'm not talking about like, oh, you know, you can piss me off. No, I'm serious. I see it the same as any sort of self-defense. I see my practice and my spiritual practice, and I have that in my arsenal, and I don't have an ego about it, and I don't hyper-focus on it, but I don't want to also get it twisted and think people think that I think that the healthiest way to the left-hand path is to be peaceful and to just turn the other cheek. Bitch, I am not that kind of person. I can't turn the other cheek. I will turn your fucking cheek with my elbow and my forearm if you're starting to step up and level up to me. But you know what? That part of me is it's like this. It's this hard thing when you heal. You got you that's like, okay, how would I handle this situation? This person's being really, you know, it could be like, I see like Karens and stuff in public, and I used to get involved. I used to start fucking going, like, if smartphones existed in like the late 90s and early 2000s, I would have been viral. So it's so sad because I would see that shit, like, you know, Karen's being abusive, and I would get involved where I don't need to get involved, and everybody around me be like, here we go. She can't just go to the fucking store and buy milk and bread like a normal person. She's got to come home with a story how she got into a fight with some fucking Karen because being abusive to some other, you know, bitch in the store, blah blah. Like it's just, I had to realize that these people are all suffering and struggling and sick, and it's not my thing. But I will stick up for somebody. But I also, at the same time, can handle things differently. It's not as prominent here in Australia. I've talked about this. But there are times people get stupid and a bit drunk and fucking, you know, babbling and bubbling and stuff. And you just got to be cool with people. You got to level with people. That is like the art form that I've learned working with Lilith and Hecate too. Belial, it's fucking twisted. Belial is very twisted when he teaches you how to be cool and collect. He's very, 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 very twisted. But Lilith and Hecate, in my experience, help with this aspect of being the weaker species in this area and having to not get yourself killed, because I have so much anger and so much pain. But I'm been able to learn how to level with people and talk people down, and then not give a fuck. And not be like, that bitch did this. Like, you know, we would hold on to it because we're like in fight or flight and the adrenaline's high. You go home, you're all arced up. Man, this happened. And 2 people got involved. Like, I've had that shit where I've gone to 7-Eleven and my homegirl's all of a sudden getting jumped because she took somebody's spot or they took hers, and I'm in a fight. I've dealt with that. Like, it's so crazy. And I'm just like going to 7-Eleven to get a fucking Slurpee. I was like a teenager. That kind of shit would happen all the time. And you're not wanting to get into a fight, but you got 3v1 on one of your friends that's just running in to get something to snack on. You got to jump out and take care of that. Being in that sort of situation is so toxic, and it's so, like, people take pride in that, and we take pride in it instead of seeing how sick the system is that we're in these situations. We have so much anger, there's so much violence, there's so much desperation because we're all stuck in, we're paying bills. My husband and I break down. I'm going to keep going for a minute, sorry. It's 11:11 too. How about that? My husband and I, mostly me, I break down because of the economy, because I'm like, man, we work so goddamn hard. I bust my ass in this house, and I honor him for busting his ass, and I tell him not to. I tell him, you take a day off if you need to, and he's like, I can't, because our gas we're being exploited here. We are really being exploited in Australia, and nobody's talking about it. And when the news here talks about it, they get the worst people to represent that. They get the people that are really fucking just not the good look for people struggling. It's people that are like not putting any effort into trying to get themselves out of that situation, so it speaks this narrative. But those people are broken down too. That's the thing. And me personally, because I'm angry, I would rather my tax money go to that person than these fuckers that are pocketing most of it. That's I will not care about somebody being on welfare until this shit gets here in Australia, America, everywhere. That's the conversation. So we shift, we have empathy, we stop being angry, we stop arguing, and then we can finally collectively get our shit together. It's not going to happen, but you can, and you are, and I know you are, because I hear you, and I recognize a lot of your user tags and your really lovely profile pictures and your stories that you share. And the best thing that I can do is not come on here acting like I got all my shit together and this is my advice, because there's a lot of people that see me like that, and I need to tell you, no, I'm not the person to see me like that. I am a human being that struggles, and I'm just really stubborn, and I just want to get out of this shit. but I want people to feel okay with falling apart and feel okay with having a bad mental health day or a bad situation, you know, as long as you're not in danger, man. I'm serious. Like it's hard. It's easier said than done for those sorts of things. But I just want people to know, like, that I hear your stories and I validate that, but I'm not in any position to do that. And I'm not in any position to give people spiritual guru advice. None of us are. Look at the Dalai Lama. That dude was looked up to so fucking much by the world, and he's a pedophile. He's a predator, and he feels entitled because he's so far on the spectrum of light that he feels entitled to tongue a fucking tiny child. Like, that's where we are. I'm not saying that every guru has that capacity or anything. Like, that's not at all the narrative I'm trying to speak. What I'm trying to say is we need to get out of this sense of desperation where we need to, like, cling on and look up to people. Then we have this false ideal of who they are because it's profitable. I can easily come on here and act like I got my shit together and act like this and this and this and make people feel like you can be me. I can do that. It's not hard. A little glamour magic, a little arrogance, a little this, a little fucking bullshitting. You think anybody can. It's not okay. It's so boring and it's so not needed at this point. And I see that shit and I'm just like, fuck, man. So anyways. Sorry, my glasses are foggy. I'm trying to figure out what to do about it. I'm going to wrap it up now. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I will see you next week on Monday, hopefully. I'm very working hard on this. Please check out the Chips channel, the Clips channel. I'll put the links in below if I'm allowed to, because YouTube right now, I'm under like all these restrictions for these new accounts for the podcast. And they have like all this fucking verification and all that. I had to show my passport. I had to take a video. It's me, all these things. And I'm just waiting. So they tell you can't post links for a while. But I'll try to link everything in the description so you can check out the Clips channel. I'm posting either once a day or once every 12 hours, have things queued up so you guys can have me in smaller doses, because not everybody wants to listen to me ramble for literally like an hour. So with that being said, thank you for giving me space to talk about these things that have been very challenging and allowing me to be vulnerable with you guys. And I hope that if you take something from it, that it adds value to your life without me needing anything from that. It's a fucking fighter jet. I don't know what it is. Peace and love. Like and subscribe. All this other good shit. I'll talk to you guys next week.